시간은 너로 swimming, jumping, falling 그냥 원하지 우리만 원하지 내가 늦어도 말해는 원해 그냥 빠졌지 내가 늦어도 Sorry I'm the way Sorry I'm the way Sorry I'm the way Sorry I'm the way Sorry I'm the way
It started small, barely noticeable at first. At the corner of your eye, you'd catch fleeting shadows. A figure standing too long at the bus stop near your house, even when no bus was due. The faintest echo of footsteps behind you when you thought you were alone. You brushed it off as coincidence, your mind playing tricks. But it wasn't. You began to find little signs. Your bedroom window, which you were certain you'd locked, slightly ajar when you came home. The faint scent of in the hallway, though no one in your family. One morning, you woke up to find a single black hoodie draped over your chair, one you'd never seen before. Your friends laughed it off. Maybe you're just overthinking, they said. It's probably nothing. But nothing doesn't stare at you from across the street every night. The first time you saw him clearly was through your bedroom window. He stood beneath the flickering street lamp, his silhouette sharp against the darkness, broad shoulders, hands shoved casually into his jacket pockets. His dark hair were tousled by the breeze, and when the light hit just right, you saw his face. Beautiful in a way that made your heart race, not with fear, but something far more confusing. Your breath caught in your throat. You quickly shut the curtains, heart pounding, but curiosity gnawed at you. When you peeked again, minutes later, he was gone. But he always came back. Days passed, and his presence grew. You'd find fresh, near your porch, faint muddy footprints just outside your window after a rainy night. Once you found a small note tucked under your pillow. You look pretty when you're lost in thoughts. Your hands had trembled reading it. You'd locked every door and window that night, but locks meant nothing to him. The first time you heard him inside your house was when you were in the shower. Steam clung to the bathroom mirror, your favorite playlist humming softly in the background. You thought you heard a creak, a soft, almost imperceptible shift of weight on the floorboards outside. You paused, listening. Silence. You convinced yourself it was nothing. Until you stepped into your room, towel wrapped around you, and smelled the faint trace of his cologne, subtle, like leather and spice, in the air. You're prickled. You scanned the room, Nothing out of place, nothing missing. Just different. He'd been there. The encounters escalated after that. You'd wake up to find your chair slightly moved, your notebooks rearranged, or your favorite pen missing, only to reappear days later. Once you found a fresh cup of coffee on your desk, still warm. But you never saw him. Not until that night. The night you sat at your desk, overwhelmed by homework, frustration etched into every line of your face. You were so lost in your thoughts that you didn't hear the window slide open behind you, didn't notice the soft creak of your bedroom floor, until you felt it, his hand, warm and steady, running down your shoulders. Your breath hitched as you froze. Slowly, you turned your head, your heart racing. And there he was, standing behind you like he belonged there. Dark hair messy, eyes gleaming with something and irresistible. His curled into a slow, lazy smirk. Struggling, love? His voice was low, as his fingers into your muscles, kneading away the tension. Your words shifted in that moment, not from fear, but from the realization that you didn't want him to stop. Yes, can you help me? His smirk deepened, and he motioned for you to stand up. Without thinking, you obeyed, stepping aside as he lowered himself into your chair, long legs wide as he made himself comfortable, his presence dominating the small space. Come here, he said, patting your cheeks. I can sit on the bed. That wasn't a request, love. Swallowing hard, you hesitated for only a moment before lowering yourself onto his. His arm curled around your waist, his fingers resting close to the hem of your shorts. He picked up the pen and started working through the problem like it was nothing. The numbers and formulas that had given you a headache disappearing under his expert strokes. But you couldn't focus, not when his free hand absently squeezed his warmth seeping through the fabric of your clothes. Minutes passed. He finished the problem, setting the pen down with a lazy flick of his wrist. Before you could move or even thank him, his arms tightened around you. And then you gasped as he stood effortlessly, lifting you with him. Wait! Your protest was short as he carried you across the room and you down on the bed. The mattress tipped beneath his weight as his arms drew in. Your heart pounded. He was so close, too close. You should be careful, love, he murmured, brushing a strand of hair from your face. His fingers trailed low, grazing your jaw, then your neck, letting a man like me into your room at night. You swallowed, unable to look away from the intensity in his eyes. "You're already here," you whispered. His smirk widened, dark amusement dancing in his gaze. "And you don't seem to mind." You didn't. That was the problem. His fingers found the back of your neck, tilting your head slightly. "May I?" he murmured, his breath warm against your. You nodded. A slow, against your neck, warm and deliberate as they traveled lower. Your breath hitched, hands instinctively gripping his shirt. "You belong to me, love," he whispered against your. "You always have." And for the first time, you didn't fight it. Traveled with maddening slowness, leaving a trail of warmth that set your. His hands were firm but not rough, as if memorizing every tremor he elicited from you. His dark eyes locked onto yours, filled with awe that made your breath hitch. "Why me?" you whispered, voice trembling with curiosity and something else, something deeper. His smirk faded, replaced by an intensity that stole the air from the room. "Because you're the only thing in this world that feels real to me." His confession in the space between you, heavy and raw. The air grew thick with unspoken words, emotions tangled like the sheets beneath you. You reached up, your fingers brushing against the hair that framed his face. "I should be scared of you," he chuckled, a low, dark sound that vibrated against your. "You should be." But you weren't. Instead, you pulled him closer, meeting his inner, that shattered the fragile barrier between fear and desire. His response was immediate, desperate even, as if he'd been waiting for this moment his entire life. His hands roamed, exploring, claiming, and with every stolen breath, you realized something. You belonged to him too.
So bad, so bad.